Chosen one, take a breath and be still for a moment. This message is not arriving randomly, and you are not encountering it by chance. There are moments when heaven gently interrupts our routine to remind us that something new is unfolding. Today is one of those moments. You may have been moving through your days with quiet endurance, carrying hope even when it felt heavy. You may have been faithful without seeing immediate results, trusting without clear evidence. Still, something within you sensed that change was near. That sense was not wishful thinking, it was awareness. God is bringing newness into your life today, and it begins first with understanding, then with alignment, and finally with action rooted in faith. You have walked through seasons that tested your patience and questioned your strength. Some days felt repetitive, like progress was slow or invisible. Other days carried emotional weight from disappointment, loss, or unfulfilled expectations. Yet through it all, you remained. That perseverance is not accidental. It is proof that you are being preserved for what comes next. Newness often approaches quietly, not with noise, but with a gentle internal shift. Before circumstances change, perspective does. Before doors open, understanding deepens. What you are sensing right now is the stirring of renewal, not because you earned it, but because God is faithful to complete what He begins. Being chosen does not mean life is free from struggle. It means your life has direction, even when clarity feels delayed. You were set apart with intention, and intention always attracts pressure. The very fact that you desire growth, healing, and purpose places you in a position where transformation is necessary. Old ways cannot carry new assignments. Old thinking cannot sustain fresh vision. This is why restlessness may have been growing inside you. What once felt acceptable may now feel limiting. What once brought comfort may now feel heavy. That discomfort is not punishment, it is preparation. There are times when God allows us to outgrow environments, habits, and even versions of ourselves. When growth arrives, it asks for release. Holding on to what was familiar can quietly block what is meant to arrive. Newness requires trust, and trust requires surrender. This is often where fear tries to speak the loudest. Fear questions timing. Fear magnifies risk. Fear reminds you of past disappointment. But faith responds differently. Faith remembers that every season has a purpose, and that God's timing is shaped by wisdom, not delay. You may be standing at the edge of change without realizing it fully. Sometimes newness begins as an invitation rather than an announcement. It appears as a nudge to pray differently, to let go of resentment, to forgive, to begin again. It may show up as a renewed desire to seek God more intentionally, or as clarity that something must shift. These are signs that the old chapter has reached its conclusion, not because it failed, but because it fulfilled its role. Resistance often increases when newness is close. This is not meant to alarm you, but to steady you. Growth challenges what is comfortable, and comfort resists being disturbed. Thoughts may arise telling you to stay where you are because it feels safer. Doubt may question whether change is worth the effort. Weariness may suggest that waiting is easier than moving forward. Yet these internal battles do not indicate weakness, they indicate transition. When the mind is renewed, direction becomes clearer. When truth replaces fear, courage strengthens. God does not bring newness to confuse you or overwhelm you. He brings it to restore alignment. Renewal is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more fully who you were created to be. Many people think new seasons arrive fully formed, but often they begin as seeds. Seeds require patience, care, and consistent attention. They do not rush the process, yet they carry the full potential of what they will become. In the same way, what God is releasing into your life may begin small, but it carries lasting impact. Throughout history, renewal followed surrender. Those who experienced transformation often had to release expectations, pride, or fear before stepping into purpose. God's work within a person begins internally, reshaping thoughts, desires, and priorities. External change eventually follows internal alignment. This is why waiting seasons are never wasted. They teach trust, they build endurance, they refine character. They prepare the heart to steward what is coming. You may have asked God for change while still holding tightly to old patterns. That tension can feel exhausting. Newness flows freely when we loosen our grip on what no longer serves the calling ahead. This does not mean dismissing the past. It means honoring what it taught you while choosing not to live there anymore. Gratitude for where you've been creates room for where you're going.
Spiritual opposition often targets the mind first. If thoughts can be shaped by fear, progress slows. If doubt is entertained, confidence weakens. This is why daily alignment matters. What you focus on grows. What you agree with gains influence. When you choose truth over anxiety, peace begins to lead. When you choose faith over assumption, clarity increases. Newness requires intentional thought patterns rooted in trust. God's renewal does not erase responsibility, it invites participation. Faith is active, not passive. You are called to move in agreement with what God is doing, even when the full picture is not visible. Small steps taken consistently open pathways for growth. Obedience often begins before understanding. Action often precedes confirmation. This is how faith matures. There is also a refining process that comes with new seasons. God removes what would hinder growth. This may feel uncomfortable at first. Relationships may change, desires may shift, priorities may realign. What once felt urgent may lose importance, while what once seemed small becomes significant. Trust this process. Refinement is not loss, it is focus. You are not being asked to rush. You are being invited to respond. God's timing is deliberate, not hurried. When you move with Him, peace accompanies progress. When you move ahead without Him, confusion often follows. Newness anchored in faith produces stability, not chaos. It builds gradually, with wisdom guiding each step. As you discern what God is renewing in your life, pay attention to where peace settles. Peace does not mean absence of challenge. It means confidence in direction. It means assurance even when outcomes are still forming. God often confirms newness through peace rather than excitement. Excitement fades, but peace endures. You may notice an increased desire to let go of resentment or unresolved emotions. Healing is often part of renewal. Holding on to past hurt can limit future joy. Forgiveness does not excuse what happened, it frees you from being bound to it. Newness flourishes in a heart willing to release bitterness and choose healing. Practical alignment strengthens spiritual growth. Daily time with God, even when brief, builds sensitivity and awareness. Reflection helps you recognize patterns and respond wisely. Gratitude shifts focus from lack to abundance. These practices create space for God to work deeply and consistently. They are not obligations, they are invitations into deeper relationship. Action matters. Faith without movement remains theoretical. When God places something on your heart, respond with intentional steps. This does not require perfection, it requires willingness. Start where you are. Use what you have. Progress is built through consistency, not comparison. Your journey does not need to resemble anyone else's to be meaningful. Community also plays a role in renewal. Growth is strengthened when shared with others who encourage faith and accountability. Isolation can distort perspective, while connection brings clarity. Surround yourself with voices that speak life, wisdom, and truth. You do not need many voices, just aligned ones. Celebrate progress even when it feels small. Gratitude reinforces momentum. When you acknowledge growth, confidence builds. When you recognize God's faithfulness, trust deepens. Celebration does not wait for completion, it honors progress. This mindset keeps your heart open and expectant. As you walk forward, remember that newness does not mean absence of challenge. It means you are equipped to face challenges with greater strength and understanding. God does not remove every obstacle. He strengthens you to overcome them. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to grow in trust and resilience. Chosen one, this season is an invitation to step forward with confidence. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. What God is doing in your life is purposeful, timely, and rooted in love. Allow yourself to receive it without fear. Allow yourself to grow without hesitation. Allow yourself to trust without reservation. If this message resonates with your spirit, let it move beyond reflection into action. Share it with someone who may need encouragement. Stay connected to this community where faith is nurtured and purpose is explored. Declare in your heart and through your steps that you are ready for what God is bringing. Newness is not a distant promise. It is unfolding now, and you are prepared to walk in it with strength, clarity, and unwavering faith.